It's easy to take for granted the fact that you can tell that time is passing. I mean, we do it all the time. But how does your brain actually know that time is passing? Well, there are lots of different ways. In fact, there isn't a single clock in the brain that ticks tock, tock, tock. Instead, there are multiple systems that measure different intervals and then piece them together. For example, neurons in the basal ganglia and the cerebellum are good at tracking short intervals, like the difference between the seconds and for seconds. Those brain regions have been shown to use the interval to help coordinate voluntary movements. So if you're going to tap your foot twice, once every 2 seconds, those parts of the brain will make sure the second tap isn't too far from the first. But those short-term intervals don't tell you anything about the longer rhythms in life, like day and night. For that, there's a small region in the hypothalamus called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. It receives information about light levels from the eyes and uses that to set the body's internal clock to roughly a 24-hour day. But even without these specialized brain regions, you still have the rest of your brain. And while it's not great at keeping time, it has its own tricks. Like, have you ever noticed that a day at summer camp felt much longer than a school day? That's because our brains use memories to fill in our sense of duration. More events mean more time passed. So your brain builds an internal model of time based on the number of things that happen, and that model can be surprisingly accurate. In one study, people were asked to rate how long a series of images had been displayed for, like how long was this purple square on the screen? And the subjects were pretty good at judging short durations, around 100 milliseconds. But they were also good at judging longer durations, like 60 minutes, which is 60 times 100 milliseconds. So it seems like the brain can just scale up this basic unit to create longer intervals. But it turns out the brain is even better at judging time passing when you're paying attention. Researchers peg this as something called goal-directed behavior. Like if you're trying to hit a target or solve a puzzle, your brain is getting a lot of signals from the sensory systems, and it needs to process all of that information. So it doesn't have many resources left over to devote to tracking time. As a result, it seems to speed up your internal clock. On the other hand, if you're bored, your brain doesn't have to work as hard, so it slows down the clock. This might be why sometimes it feels like time is standing still. And emotions can also affect how time passes. Like imagine you're walking through a scary neighborhood alone. You notice a guy coming towards you with a big knife. Your heart starts racing. Your breathing gets faster and you feel like you're in danger. And all that is happening within a split second. But in that moment, it feels like time slows down. Your brain is getting a lot of emotional and physical signals. But the perception of danger makes it feel like they're taking a long time to resolve. So it's clear that the brain can keep time under some circumstances and not under others. Which raises the question, where does this timekeeping ability come from? If you've ever played the game, Keep Grandma Running for long enough, you may have noticed that she tends to stop moving after a while. It looks like she's frozen in place. But if you look closely, you can see that her lips are still moving. She's just saying the same line over and over again. And this is kind of how the brain works. Instead of a real ticking clock, the brain builds time from bits and pieces, little signals from the body and the environment. And if there aren't many signals, it fills in the blanks with what it already knows. So the brain takes a guess, makes an estimate, and most of the time, it's right on the money.